Slušaj me pažljivo. Sprema se nešto veliko.
Ti si porno glumac koji želi da zna o čemu se radi u filmu. Pružit ću ti kraj. Kraj kakav si žela. Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Hey, sickos, and welcome to the first podcast of 2023. I hope we're all doing well. I hope we're all staying safe and healthy. Today we are going to talk about one of my favourite movies of all time. Now, I was a bit confused a few weeks back because I love a Serbian film, because that's the one we're going to be talking about. And I thought, I'm pretty sure I've actually recorded this podcast before. Lo and behold, I went back through my iTunes podcast, my Anchor podcast, and I couldn't find it. But I could have swore I recorded it. So here we are. 2023. What better way to start 2023 on the podcast is by talking about a Serbian film, right? A lot of people love this movie, a lot of people hate it, but we're going to get into that. Now, this movie is one of my favourites, so much so after I watched it for the very first time, I loved it that much that I added it right to the top of my list of favourites. And I'm going to go into my why, but I will add that there are a lot of people that may know about this movie due to hearing reviews, other people talking about it online, and a lot of people may have heard of people stating how extreme or gory it is. After all, this movie was banned in several countries, but regardless, it is widely regarded by many as the most disturbing movie of all time. Well, the Serbian film did receive a lot of attention and controversy for its graphic violence and sexual content upon its debut. However, this is one movie that, to me, is a cult classic. And what I mean by that is this movie, to this day, is still getting recognised as an extreme graphic and sexualised movie from new eyes. Because let's face it, this podcast might get to certain people out there, or my Instagram might get to certain people out there that might not have heard of a Serbian film before. But if you're into effed up movies like I am, I'm pretty sure you would have heard of a Serbian film. Either you've heard about it or you've seen it, one of the two. Now, I did read up about the director and the journey that he took, the struggles he had upon becoming a recognised director and coming together with a different director to create a Serbian film. Now, alongside the journey that these two directors had to create this movie, then the amount of times they had to cut the movie in order for it to be submitted for viewing, all of the past struggles of making and of the birth of what we now know today as a Serbian film was definitely worth it, in my opinion. Now, for those who haven't seen this movie, I will state now that I won't today or in the future give away any spoilers, so if that's what you're looking for, there's plenty of other reviewers out there, especially on YouTube. Now, without further ado, let's crack on with a Serbian film. So, a Serbian film features Milos, a semi-retired porn star that succumbs to financial hardship. You get an introduction of our main characters, which is Milos, his wife, and their son. Now, we see first Milos' son is watching his father, which is Milos, on TV, and it's clearly his father acting in a very inappropriate way, shall we say, acting in porn. And we see Milos and his wife walk in and turn it off, and they sit down with their son for a few minutes. Now, during the first 15 minutes of this movie, we get a sense that they're struggling financially. Their son has piano lessons, and Milos wants to do whatever he can to help his family, which, without too much of being said in this movie to begin with, and very little acting at this point, it becomes very relatable. Now, that is what I personally love about the introduction to a Serbian film with these three main characters, is you get a sense of how much they love each other, and how much, that the dad wants to fend for the family. And it's, like I said before, it's very relatable, especially in this day and age of the real world we're living in, with the prices of everything going up and stuff like that. People are struggling financially, and some people are turning to online work and everything like that to basically pay for their bills, essentially. And so this is why I think it's relatable. Anybody can relate to this situation, especially if you've had a good paying job, for example, and now it's gone down the toilet because something happened in your job where you've had to lose your job or you've had to walk out because of certain circumstances. So that's what I love about the connection that these characters have throughout this entire movie. But moving on from that. So luck would strike, however, as Milos is approached by an ex-porn star actress with an art film opportunity by an unknown director in the porn industry but a legend in the underground industry. Now, Milos takes his time to think about this, and he asks his wife about this opportunity and goes as far as to asking a friend to do their research on this unknown director. His friend can't find anything, but because of his financial difficulties, he agrees to meet this director as he has no other way out. And then he later realises he's been sucked into a snuff movie with pedophilia and necrophilia themes. Now, that is essentially what this movie is going to be about. Now, this is where a lot of people shout, baby rape scene, baby rape scene. In actual fact, there's no such scene as a baby rape. What scene we do see regarding the highly popular scene, shall I say, in quotations, is when Milos is in the director's office after he meets this director, and he's watching a movie that the director is inspired by, which is new sort of porn that nobody's seen before. And in this movie, we see a woman that gives birth, and this guy in the movie that delivers this child turns away with the baby in his hands. Then the camera focuses back on Milos, that looks disgusted and proceeds to walk out. So there is no baby rape scene. The director does a very good job, however, at making the viewer think that that's what's happening on screen, so they then believe that's what they've saw. But what I will mention about this movie is it goes from one extreme to the next and builds every single time. What I mean by that is the first initial scene you see of this movie, when Milos is officially acting as this actor, this porn actor, is you think it's extreme and you think it's brutal, but then we move on to the next scene with Milos and it's just as extreme and brutal. So it builds up every single time until the finale, I'm going to call it, at the very end, which I'm not giving any spoilers for. But no doubt there will be a lot of people out there that either can't continue to watch this film or can't even finish it. Some people hate it for certain reasons and some people love it, and that is fine. Just because I love this movie, it doesn't mean the next person will. Just because a certain person doesn't think that this movie is graphic or violent, that doesn't mean the next person will agree with that either. At the end of the day, everyone is different and they have different levels of extreme of what they can handle and what they can tolerate when they're watching something. But I personally love this one myself. And again, like I said before, what I really love about this movie is the characters of Milos' wife and their son. And this also gives you a lot of a sense of eye-opening experiences when you're watching this movie. If you can go into this movie with an open mind, take away everything you've heard about this movie, take away everything you know about this movie, and go in with this with an open mind, and really focus on the characters and how they are treating each other, you will get a sense of a lot of love in this movie. You will get a sense of a lot of betrayal in this movie. You will get a sense of a lot of different things in this movie. You know, it's not just about the gore. It's not just about certain things what you've heard of. It's not just about certain things that you might have seen in a trailer, for example. This movie is very different on another level, in my opinion. And this movie definitely needs to go up the ranks with a lot of effed up fans, for example. And like I said before, the storyline included, it gives you very much an eye-opening experience. And I will say right now, yes, it is gory. Yes, it is brutal. And yes, some people can't handle this movie. But everybody's different, like I said, at the end of the day. So yeah. So when it comes to a Serbian film, overall, like I said before, it was in my top favourites ever since I watched it for the first time. And there's just so much that goes on in this movie that I think if you've watched it for the first time and you feel like you've missed something, you probably have. Because a lot goes on in this movie, and I do feel like you need to watch it a couple of times in order to see everything what you need to see in this movie. And like I said before, there is a lot of, you know, eye-opening experiences with betrayal and trust and everything like that. But there's also an eye-opening experience with this movie in particular of heartbreak, you know. And there is a scene in this movie that will live with me for the rest of my life. And that is roughly at the end of this movie. And it's absolutely heartbreaking to witness. Because you grow so fond of these characters, as in Milos, his wife, and their son. You grow so fond of their characters on screen, and the director does a brilliant job of that. And you just feel absolutely heart-wrenched at the end of this movie. But overall, like I said, it goes from one extreme to the next, this film. And like I said, you get a lot of eye-opening experiences with this. I know I tend to keep repeating myself with a movie like this, but that is because it's such a passionate movie for me, you know, and I would definitely love to interview the director in the future for this movie. It's just one of them movies that I think if you go in with an open mind and you love it, you're going to love it for a very long time. And I'm going to say this right now, not a lot of movies can touch a Serbian film, because the authenticity of the acting in this film, you know, it's very naturally acted out, as though what you're watching is real life, you know. So yeah, so I know this was a short but sweet review, and I had to get it out there, because obviously I haven't done a Serbian film review before. But I just had to give you a quick little glance at a Serbian film, because there is a lot in this movie that could give this movie away. And this is why it's such a short review of such. But I would always recommend just buying this movie if you can, supporting the director if you can, supporting the actors in this, because they did a damn good job. And yeah, I hope if you have seen this movie, you like it just as much as what I do. If you do like this movie, please don't forget to tag me in Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram handle is SensoryStowers46. which is again Sensory Stowers 46. You'll be able to find me on Instagram. If you just type in Sensory Stowers, it should come up. Or if not, you can search up my Facebook, which is just Sensory Stowers. You can't miss me. And then just get my Instagram from there. If you can't find me on Instagram straight away, which I'm sure you will be able to. But just in case you can't, then you can add me on Facebook. And tag me on social media if you have seen this movie, and tag me that you're watching it if you're newly watching this movie. I love to put movies out to new faces, if that makes sense. I love people to check out the movies that I truly adore and love, and will adore and love for years to come. And my partner Charlie at the time, he is wanting to try and watch some of these movies, so a Serbian Film will definitely be the first one on our list for him to check out. And I will be letting people know what he thinks of it. One of my friends, Sophie, at the place that I work, watched this movie, and she agreed a lot with me on what I've spoken to her about this movie. So she too is another person that can watch this movie, and she has her very own opinions on this as well. So I might just ask her opinions and share them on this podcast, because I like to get everybody's opinions at the end of the day. But without further ado, I'm going to stop rambling now. I'm going to let you crack on with the rest of what you're doing today, this evening or this night. And I hope you enjoyed this short but sweet review. And if you would like to know anything else regarding this movie, then please don't hesitate to ask me. And I will catch you tomorrow, because tomorrow is an exciting one for me. I am going to be reviewing the Lucifer Valentine Black Metal Veins. So if you're looking forward to that, because you like Lucifer Valentine, or you're a fellow supporter of Lucifer Valentine, then please give me a shout out on Facebook or Instagram, and I will be sure to share all of everybody's shares. So yeah, without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll catch you tomorrow.